Welcome to General Strike News and Commentary. I'm General Strike. Today I would like to talk about the minimum wage. My perspective on this issue is from a blue-collar working-class individual who has created two businesses over my adult lifetime. One business was successful and the other failed. The failure was during the heart of the economic recession, when the economy was in shambles. Even though my business failed, I still tried my best to compensate my employees with wages above the minimum wage. I see wages as an economic morality, instead of something that should be crushed and cheapened as the capitalists painstakingly try to do. One thing that really grinds my gears is listening to other working class or poor people advocate for not raising the minimum wage. Often these people are parroting the propaganda they hear from their favorite news source, or they are demonstrating one of the basic human flaws, selfishness. You hear comments like, "Why should someone flipping boogers get paid more than me?" These people have a warped sense of self-importance that completely ignores the fact that other people are alive and working to feed and clothe their families too. Additionally, comments like these fail to acknowledge their wages would be raised in the process if they are not making the proposed new minimum wage. Another false equivalency happens when people who have a great health and retirement plan that earns close to the new minimum proposed wage scoffs at the thought someone will get paid their same hourly wage. These people forget to take into account their benefits are part of their compensation package. Most of the low-wage workers do not enjoy compensation packages such as these, and it's wrong to compare the two. The worst is the egotistical, pompous assholes who think any worker not doing what they do, or more in their opinion, are beneath them and should be paid the lowest amount for their work. They often refer to low-wage workers as unskilled. It's as if they started their present career with all the knowledge and skills required implanted into their tiny little brains via osmosis. Regrettably, these people are usually impervious to reason and logic. As I've explained in previous videos, an equilibrium between capitalism and labor can never be reached. Capitalists work day and night to find ways to cheapen and crush labor, to increase their profits. I also explained how the tax burden has been shifted onto the working class and poor, thus giving the rich a tremendous amount of wealth as a result. The working class and poor need to realize they are being exploited and manipulated. We should all stand together and demand higher wages. Isn't it funny you never hear the people I just described who are against raising the lowest wages allowed never make a peep about the grotesque amount of money the people at the top take from us? It's all part of the manipulation to make you focus on the most powerless among us and ignore what the most powerful are doing to rob us. Everyone should shift their outrage at raising the minimum wage and focus on reducing the wages of the people at the top. How many of you know that Franklin Roosevelt proposed a maximum wage? Yes, the president who was elected 4 times, and is the reason we have 2 term limits, proposed a maximum wage. The compromise between the Republicans and Democrats was a 94% top marginal tax rate. In 1955, the largest employers in the U.S. were GM and Chrysler. Now our largest employers are Walmart and McDonald's. Long gone are the days of working a good manufacturing job with a good pension. Now your prospects are going into debt to get a piece of paper saying you have a degree in order for employers to separate out potential employees for low-wage jobs. All that paper does is give employers a way to sort through the numerous applicants for the ever-shrinking job market. While you go in debt tens of thousands of dollars to get your paper degree to work at Starbucks serving coffee, the rich are laughing as they sit on their cache of money like greedy dragons. Another annoying person to hear rail against raising the minimum wage are people over 60 who claim that when they were young they did X, Y, and Z. Yes, when you were young, we had wages that rose with productivity. We had essentially free tuition for college. We had good paying manufacturing jobs with pensions. We had more unions. We had families where one person could earn a wage to support a family. In 1968, the minimum wage was equivalent to earning over $11 per hour now. We had 90 to 70% tax rates. The New Deal was still going strong. So stuff it, Grandpa, and take a look around you. This is not the USA you grew up in. In many respects, I wish it was. We've had 4 decades of neoliberal policies that have transferred our wealth to the top. It moved our jobs to low-wage countries. Look at your clothing and just about everything in your home. Nothing's made in the USA like it was when you were young. We've given our nation to the rich, and they have squeezed us for every penny. Now let's take a look at Walmart, who is our nation's largest employer. The 6 Walmart heirs, 5, 6 people. The 6 Walmart heirs have more money than the bottom 40% of all Americans. Let that sink in a minute. We have around 320 million people in the USA. 6 people have more wealth than 128 million. According to a recent study by AmericansForTaxFairness.org, Walmart cost taxpayers $6.2 billion for public assistance programs for workers in 2013. They also received $1 billion in federal tax breaks and $70 million in developmental subsidies by state and local governments. In addition, the family saved $607 million in preferential tax rates on Walmart dividends claimed that year. This totaled to an annual cost for taxpayers of $7.8 billion for 2013. The average wage at Walmart, our largest employer, is $8.81 per hour. That's a whopping $1.56 more than minimum wage. Here's the truth. When you put more money in the hands of lower income people, they spend it. When you put more money in the hands of wealthy, they sit on it like dragons. Spending money makes the economy move. The more people you have who could spend money, the more the economy works. One reason my business failed in the recession is people lost their jobs and didn't have money to spend. It made my business very difficult to run. I also depended on corporate gift giving, and many businesses went belly up, and those that survived the crash cut back. The velocity of money in the hands of lower income workers stimulates the economy more than giving Walmart heirs more money than 128 million Americans. The counter argument is some companies will not hire workers, raise prices, or cut workers if they had to pay higher wages. This is true and is a possibility. Nobody can predict exactly what will happen. However, giving more money to people who will spend all of it will boost the economy. This increased spending will help businesses who produce the goods and services they use. In return, they will have the money to hire more workers due to the increased production for this higher demand. We can argue both sides, but ultimately, as a working class person, I will never advocate for anyone to receive lower wages. I want everyone to have a living wage with the ability to provide for their family without relying on government assistance. The big question you have to ask yourself is this: do you want to support an economic system that success depends on depriving a majority of our workforce from a living wage, while taxpayers continue to subsidize that system to ensure maximum profits are going to a very small number of people? Or do you want an economic system based on a moral wage where workers earn enough to have a good life and wages that rise with productivity while companies still remain profitable? This is the question. I, for one, do not want a system that exploits my fellow citizens in a way that costs us all money to subsidize the profits for the richest people among us. This minimum wage needs to be raised to a living wage. It's one of the first steps in taking back our country from the parasites who are destroying it. Bear in mind, if you're one of the working class who are against paying people a living wage, then you could bet your sweet ass someone a little further up on the ladder has the same opinion about your profession. I'm sure that wouldn't sit too well with you. And if you're in a union who prospers from labor negotiating wages and benefits on your behalf, why not support the same negotiations for higher wages for low-income workers? Hopefully this commentary will give you a new perspective on the minimum wage. If you're a part of the working class and poor, then you'll be a fool not to advocate for raising the minimum wage. Remember, when the minimum wage is raised, it lifts many workers' wages, not just the workers at the margins. I'm General Strike. Thanks for watching General Strike News and Commentary.